opportunity to share with you. Our guest, Bryant Wood, is waiting in the wings as we build a little traffic. So I want to take a moment to share with you, as you all are streaming into the loving room at Rythmia, a little bit about what's going on at Rythmia. We are amazingly open. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that we have to be open during this time. And I want to tell you why we can be open during this time. Because I think we're doing more than anyone I've seen in the field or in any resort of any type in terms of safety. When you come, hi Dorota, hi everybody, welcome Susan. When you come to Rythmia, we have a very accurate, rapid test that's been certified by the FDA, the European Union, the Costa Rica Ministry of Health. Hi, Lisa, and Max, and the Poconos, and Anne. Hello, Debbie. So when you come, you get tested by this with this antigen test, and everybody on property. This is before you check in. So before you check in, you're tested for COVID, and then you can come on property and have a pre-COVID experience, right? No masks, no social distancing. You can hug people. That's one of the things I hear most is that people say, "Oh my God, I haven't hugged anyone in the longest time." So that's a little bit about what's going on at Rythmia. Come, call the number below, ask some questions. We have amazing opportunities during this time to awaken to the true miracles of our lives. And that's what Rythmia is about. And that's what this conversation is about, how to stay lifted in high conversation, high vibration during this time, during these times just as this. So without further ado, let me welcome this amazing being, everyone. I'm so excited to share with you that we have Bryant Wood here. Hi, Bryant. Bryant is an inspirational speaker, master breathwork instructor for the Pranashama Shamanic Yoga Institute. I probably said that wrong. And certified NLP, neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. With his experience as a formal model and bodybuilder turned yogi, Bryant leads workshops, private coaching programs, and retreats around the world, online and in person, teaching people the importance of body, breath, and mind awareness. He is the co-founder of Modern Nirvana, a company that catalyzes transformation in people's lives and to inspire them to take control of their spiritual and physical well-being. And I'll add that Bryant will be coming to Rythmia in March, I think. I know, I can't wait. Bryant, welcome.
Hey, JJ, thank you. I'll be there March 6th through the 13th. It'll be myself, Frank Elleriti. I believe Ben Decker is also going to be there. And my dad and then Frank's brother. So we're getting the whole family together.
It's amazing. And how great that you're bringing your dad and Frank's bringing his brother, and it's going to be this family ayahuasca event.
Oh, I feel like that's the future. It's just generational healing. It's like no one gets left behind. I got you. You're coming with me, Pops. I love you so much.
How cool that your dad is like down for it.
I know. He's 72. He's just, it's a testament to these modalities like breathwork, plant medicine, all these things. It's like when you purify, there is shifts that are felt and heard from seven generations before and 7 generations after. You're breaking those patterns and stepping into that freedom for us all. And it really starts with an experiential basis. Like, I'm not trying to change my family. I'm just invited with the conversation.
I love it. Now, I've heard this 7 generations concept. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I love that you asked that. And I've dove into it quite a bit. And there's different philosophies and schools of thought. What feels the most right to me, at like the essence of what we're talking about when we say that, is the meaning of we're standing on the bones of our ancestors. Mm-hmm. Like literally the bones that we have are the same as our ancestors.
Yes.
And that to me interconnects us at the most beautiful level. And then other than that, like all emotions, imagine the first person smiling, a caveman smiling, that is all trickled down to how we smile today, right? So it's not just 7 generations and 7 generations after, it's the entirety of all human race and all human experience.
I heard Satguru talk about this, and he cited a study, I think it was like Emory University or some like pretty reputable institution, right? That did this study with rats. And they took the rats and this first generation, and they had a cherry flavored cheese, right? This particular cherry scented, cherry flavored cheese. And every time the rats would go to eat that cheese, they'd get an electric shock. And so then the rats eventually, that generation, stopped eating cherry flavored cheese. They'd eat other cheeses, right? And then they separated the rats out, and for, I think it was 7 generations plus, I think it was by the 8th generation. So for 7 generations after that original experience, none of the rats would eat cherry flavored cheese. Like they just wouldn't even, like they'd smell it and be like, yeah, no thanks. They wouldn't even have to go through the electric shock. And they even separated the rats out. So in case there was like some like rat school, they were like, okay, hey dude, avoid the cherry flavored cheese, right? They separated them. So there was no like connection, right? They just, so I love that because it is a scientific exposition of what you were just, intuitively talking about, is that we really are connected to our ancestral line.
1,000%. And I would love for you to share about your ancestor altar as well. Have you heard of the 100th monkey effect? Because I think this is an interesting touch point too, right? On a quantum field, when a certain number of primates understood a certain concept, it jumped across land to other primates, and it was felt quantumly, and everyone adopted that philosophy. So like, as you hear about the 144,000 people waking up spiritually, and the whole world ascends. That's like kind of what we're doing by just focusing on our individual self and then the person that's in front of us, because we know that makes a difference for the collective.
So cool that you brought up the 100th monkey. I was just yesterday, I had the privilege of being at Agape, right? I got to lead the meditation and do the opening prayer and evocation.
JJ, you're my favorite prayer ever. I just like the podcast today was to hear you pray. It's like, I was like, whoa.
Thank you, brother. I'm just going to take a little side note and say how beautiful of an individual you are, because you're so generous with what you see in others. Every time I speak with you, you breathe life into me with words of praise. And what a great thing to take on. I think I'm going to take on the Bryant Wood mantle of praise, so thank you. Thank you. Now, so I got the chance to hang out with Reverend Michael afterwards, right? So service is over, we're hanging out, we're chatting, and the 100th monkey comes up and he goes, I got to tell you something about that. There's something really interesting. They did a follow-up study. And the key was that the monkey, right? So that in case you don't know, folks that are listening don't know, that there was I think this was in the 50s. There's a book called The 100th Monkey in the 50s. There is a scientist studying these monkeys on these unpopulated islands around Japan. And they'd drive by in boats and throw sweet potatoes on the shores, and the monkeys would eat the sweet potatoes. And there are multiple islands they were doing this. Well, they noticed at one point, this one monkey started washing her sweet potatoes. None of the other monkeys would wash the sweet potatoes, right? So they'd wash the sweet potatoes. She'd begin, and then her monkeys in her area started washing sweet potatoes. And little by little, by the time the 100th monkey on that island washed its sweet potato, then spontaneously all the monkeys on all the islands started washing their sweet potatoes, right? So this 100th monkey effect that Bryant referred to. So Reverend Michael said, did you know the key was that it was a young female monkey, right? And it had something to do. I wish I could remember, man, what he said. It had something to do with the youth, that men aren't as adaptable, that the male monkeys weren't as adaptable, and generational as well. So the youth and the female aspect of it were important catalysts for change for the community. Right? I know, super interesting. I'll have to go back to him and ask for more clarification. But the idea that there's something that the change, the way showers, the light showers, the leaders, we're looking at underrepresented or under acknowledged groups, young females. Who can be the real way showers, in terms of the 100th monkey effect. And so the possibility of being more attuned to those changes, that this is how societal change happens. So And that was my little bit on the 100th monkey.
Steve, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Before we move on, I want to just acknowledge, because we've had so many people saying hello. So I just want to say hello to everyone. MC, Colette, Mia, hi, Ilzette, and Delia. Really beautiful to have you all. JG, Joaquin from Germany. Thank you so much, everyone. Leslie, so many people. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, there's a question here. Check out the Anuki Garden of Eden. Okay. Oh, women and why women were the way showers. Hey, Della, thank you so much. Great for that. Well, amazing to have everyone with us. And so amazing to have Bryant with us, because Bryant, I want to, you have such an amazing story. And I want to kind of, for you to share, and I have so much more to learn about you. Tell us who you are. Who are you in the world?
Who am I in the world? Love that. That's really cool, because I think what really allowed me to participate in humanity was being unattached to my state as an observer, but still willing to show up for the evolution of us all. Right? So it's like we all get to that spiritual evolution point where we're like, wow, who am I really? And then to label that to any degree is just like one of the most difficult tasks that is also the easiest that you will find within your rhythm of life. So how I'm showing up in the world is I've really dove into the aspect of breath work. I've had the opportunity to teach thousands of people the power of the breath initiations, helping them really master their emotions with the breath, and then more importantly, dive into their own best medicine, which is their own energy. And then the other thing that I focus on, I keep it really specific, is Modern Nirvana. And JJ, Modern Nirvana and the crew, we love Rythmia. Yes. It's with Frank Elleriti, Kat Graham, and they're just like incredible powerhouses that are in such alignment as forces for good. Everything that we decide to do has a deeper underlying meaning and purpose and intention. And throughout my whole life, I have surrendered and let go of so many things that were almost right to step into what I know today to be a conscious company, a conscious company that is here to make the world a better place. And we have a conference, we have a YouTube channel. We're working on an Oracle deck with Jennifer Sodini, which is also a Rythmia family member. Yes. So we're all super interconnected with this. And I guess that's what I do. That's who I am. And that's what I've decided to be, more importantly. And I know there's room for that to change, but I know since I've chosen to pick that identity, a lot of things have opened up. They say you can experience infinity when you put it in a box. So I thought that was beautiful.
Oh, wait. Okay, let's unpack that. You can experience infinity when you put it in a box. What does that mean to you?
What it means to me is by making a conscious choice. I am Bryant Wood. I teach breathwork. I'm the co-founder of Modern Nirvana. I'm here to empower others with their own healing medicine to make this world a better place. Fairly simple purpose, right? But within that is a sea of infinite possibilities. And more importantly, it allows you to still the mind to drop into that theta wave, drop into that state where you have access to all knowledge to assist you within that purpose and mission. So the box is actually kind of important to a degree. When you choose it, it unravels all the information you need to then create that reality.
Can I, I'm supposed to be asking questions, but I want to share something.
No, listen, this is a collaboration. I'm here because I want to talk to you and get to know you too. So we're in this together.
One of my favorite teachings, and it's something that I'm looking to develop. It's a hashtag that I use on my posts, and it's and it's a teaching that I have been writing about as I want to really turn this into a workshop, and I call it Freedom in the Groove. And it's the very thing that you're talking about, right? That we think that freedom is being able to do whatever we want, whenever we want. And that actually it's within structure that infinite possibilities exist. And I use the example of jazz. Freedom in the groove is a jazz saying. I love jazz, classic, straight ahead, bebop, like hardcore jazz. And freedom in the groove is this that like, okay, you have to have studied music theory, right? You want to play jazz, you don't have to have studied music theory, but you have to have studied. You have to have, either you're playing by ear, but you have to have some background of understanding of key signatures and scales, and you have to have some technical skill. You have to have applied yourself. And then when you get together with somebody, you've got to have a structure. I got to know what the key signature is, what the time signature is, what's the song we're playing, what's the header, and what's the order of solos, right? So there's some definite structure, but within that structure, improvisational jazz takes you to places, right? Infinite possibilities exist. Even the example of the chessboard, right? 36 square, and infinite variations exist within that limited frame. So that, just as you said, infinity in a box, freedom in the groove, infinite possibilities within structure. It's when we harmonize our life structures that support us that we're actually a candidate for enlightenment. You know, if all of our life structures are messed up,
we're actually a candidate for enlightenment.
Right. If I'm running for my life or worrying about food or water or where I'm going to sleep, I'm not really sitting and meditating and having the opportunity to contemplate. Right. But if my physical health is taken care of, my relationships are solid, I have a good community, my understanding of my belief systems and my egoic structures, my finances, when all those things are harmonized and solid, then I have a platform, and now I can contemplate the things that might open my mind to enlightenment. Does that make sense?
1,000%. Thank you for sharing that, and I love how you grounded that in very simple metaphors too, which is so important.
Thanks, brother. Thank you. So, I can't wait to. Was that a fist bump? Was that?
No, there was a point in a fist bump. It was like I would have went for the hug, but
I know.
People were falling over.
March 6th,
Okay.
we're going to be hugging because I'll be there. I'll be at Rythmia all of March as well. I'm so excited. So, breathwork is one of the most profound ways to release without having to like go through the psychology and each moment of the things that are bothering me. Tell us more about the power of breath work and your experience and how that mechanism works.
Absolutely. And I know that we will be doing breath work at Rythmia in March. So I'm really excited to utilize the breath work, the yoga, the beautiful, delicious organic food at Rythmia on top of with plant medicine. I think that's like the angel's cocktail for purification. So I'm really excited for that.
I love Angel's Cocktail. That's great, man.
Yeah, I love that one too. So in regards to the breath work, and I just want to touch on a point that Lana said. She says, only by choosing consciously who we want to be in the world do we empty ourselves of all the unconscious clatter, thus creating space for infinite possibilities. And you sum that up beautifully, Lana. Thank you so much for that.
Very nice.
And that's
Lana will be a guest speaker at Rythmia. Lana, I didn't know that was you. Everyone's a beautiful being, but this is a special, really special being who does such beautiful work in the world. Lana, thank you for joining us today.
Perfect.
It's really amazing.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, yeah, I feel her right now too, so that's good. Appreciate you. Okay, so breath work, and it kind of plays off of what she said, and that gets into like the later on stages of breath work. So if you look at like Patanjali, which is like founder of pranayama, incredible being, pranayama meaning in Eastern culture to extend your life force. And there's many different pranas, but they've called breathwork pranayama because of how important it is for accessing the quantity of your energetic field, the quality of your energetic field, and empowering yourself as a purification method. So what he does originally, he asks, who is the one that is breathing, right? Who am I? Beautiful question. On another level, which brings up, again, when you put yourself in that box, that allows your mind to come up with these different interpretations, and it's beautiful to experience that. Who is the one that is breathing? This is my transition as breathwork, and this is what it will do for all of you based off of the embodiment of the practices, not the intellectual understanding. So I want to premise that too.
Okay.
When you ask yourself, who is the one that is breathing, you understand that, okay, I'm not only breathing air, I'm also breathing energy. And if you think of like Sufi culture, Shabbat Khan does it in a wonderful class on, all right, how are you breathing life today? Right? Are you breathing? And he says that like you kind of put the energy on top of the breath. It's not really different, but you kind of feel it, right? How are you breathing life? Are you breathing it with compassion? Are you breathing it with kindness? Are you breathing it with love? how are you breathing life? Because that internal state is your external stage. So that's the first thing you do, is you check in, like, how am I breathing life today? Okay.
Yes.
Secondly, you start to understand your emotions. Your psyche and your soma are interconnected with the breath. It's just like kind of holding a balloon on a string. Your body, your mind is the balloon, your breath is interconnecting it. Beautiful depiction for that. And every time you have an emotional trigger, you have a like breathing pattern associated with it. And when you're unconsciously breathing, there is the part of your brain that is ruled by feelings and emotions is taking over. So your breathing pattern gets erratic. It gets, when fight or flight, it changes. And that could either be adding the stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol into the body, and all these kind of other things. But it's more importantly, it's shifting your state from a state that is not in balance. When we are born, they say your first breath is imprinted. Oh, excuse me. And I'm riffing the stages of the breathing. When you're born, your first breath that you take is your first imprint of life. Incredibly important thing. Like the first breath that you take, everything else is a byproduct of that first breath, and it's layered upon each breath that you take. And what they would say in I think, I forgot the person that said it, but he says you have 140 years on this earth based off of the quality of breaths that you're taking. So if you're breathing in a healing breath, you will extend your life to that degree. That's how much time we're allotted. But because all of us are living shorter, it's because of our breathing patterns, or these erratic breathing patterns, and we don't have access to the medicine that is the breath. And the most healing breath, and I always teach this first, I always share this first and offer this first, because it is one of the greatest benefits from breathing, is you have to convince yourself and heal yourself with that long, full breath in the diaphragm. And it's very simple, simplest thing you can do. It's breathing in 5 seconds, exhaling for 5 seconds. And JJ, if you're open to it, we can do some later on.
Yes, absolutely.
So we'll offer that later. But
no, please continue. I'm just
cool.
falling in love.
It's like, oh man, it's just so fun to really dive into stuff like this. And then we're going into like the next stage, right? And you realize, like, who is the one that is breathing? You're like, oh wait, I'm actually not the one breathing at all. I'm just creating space. I'm changing the air pressure internally and externally to allow the breath to enter me. So the breathing pattern for that is you're breathing from front to back, front body to back body, left to right. Your rib cage goes out and up, and then you breathe from down to up. And you're this vessel of consciousness to allow the breath to enter you. That's something you discover. Oh, I'm not being breathed. I'm just creating space for the breath to enter me. And then you discover, oh, and again, everyone's journey is different. You might get it right away, but this is my journey. You discover that, okay, I'm creating space, and let me see what's next for this. So I'm creating space for the breath to enter me. And then if you look across cultures, you start really listening to people and their experiences, and they call breath spirit. Across culture, everyone says breath is the manifestation of spirit. And you're like, whoa. This is incredible. Wait a minute, this is what I've been breathing this whole time, is spirit? What? You know what I mean? And it's not the one, I'm not the one breathing at all. So then you learn that, and then it takes you into another layer, and this is where it gets really beautiful. When you breathe, all of a sudden the sense of self completely dissolves, and you realize that you are actually the breath itself. You are actually the spirit itself. Okay? And that spirit that is entering you is you, and the spirit that you're exhaling is you. And just the most beautiful depiction is God exhales you into existence and breathes you back in and takes you back home, and you're never actually a part of God. And that God is always breathing you. You're always being breathed by it. And you're always that spirit that is entering and exiting you. And that is more of an embodiment than if I could sit here all day and try to tell you something, but it is much more of an experience than it is it something that I could tell you. See you, Margie, later. See you, Michael. I think they're going to bed. So I was in a flow.
Can I jump in there?
Please.
So much of the spiritual principles, spiritual teachings that we hear, they're such it's like poetry, right? They're really dense and can be unpacked, and they have multiple points of entry. So I hear something like, I am being breathed, or this is a phrase in New Thought, in metaphysical tradition, like, in, through, and as me. God is in, through, and as me. The spirit is in, through, and as. And I had an understanding of in, through, and as, but something shifted recently. And it speaks to this, to what you were talking about, that I am the breath. It is me. I'm breathing it. I'm accepting it. There was just a deeper understanding of this energetic creative medium in which we live and move and have our being, right? That this is the deeper understanding. Oh, there's a creative medium, and I'm created from that medium. So I have all the qualities and quantities of that medium. But the medium is invisible, and I'm visible. I'm formed. So I'm a temporary, made visible, taken form, a temporary manifestation of the invisible, and the invisible made visible. And so therefore I'm a kind of a continuum of that very energy. Right. So now I don't know if I'm explaining it, but this was it's like something that I've known for years. I've been studying this for years. And then there was this deeper understanding of the truth of that I am both. I am all of it. I am the breath. I am being breathed. I am breathing. I am the consciousness. I am the energy. I am the physical form. And it is me. That's the deeper understanding of no separation. Can't be separate, no matter what. And then finally, a very dear friend of mine who is a beautiful yoga instructor, we were practicing together, and she said this about the breath, and I just loved it. And I think it speaks to what you were saying. She said, the breath is like the love of a mother. We can focus on it and be aware of it, right? Have you heard this idea?
But it's the truth. Your first heartbeat was your mother's.
Right.
The air you were breathing was oxygenated fluid from your mother, so it's super interconnected.
Yes. Well, so the breath is like the love of a mother. You can remember it. You can concentrate on it. You can focus on it. But eventually you're going to forget. But it's still breathing you. It's still loving you. And I think that speaks so beautifully to what you were talking about, that this connection of spirit as the breath, that we are being breathed closer to us than our very breath, no separation.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, JJ. And I really love the depiction of that. Definitely. I think one thing I want to add in is, like, through the breath, you find out who you are as well. And you also find out what you're not, which is eventually through the breath, you have to learn to let go of everything. There's not one thing that you can really grasp onto that can fool you into believing that you are that when you're breathing. It just allows the mind to drop into stillness, and it allows the body to open up and soften and to drop into that space of the heart. That being said, it's like, okay, how do I feel like myself? How can I step into that authenticity? Because all of us are really asking ourselves that question, because all of your voices are incredibly important. Every single person here, your story is super important. It's no person left behind. Like, you're that one fractal of the universe expressing itself, and to become whole, we have to accept and surrender and love you just as we accept and surrender and love ourselves.
Yes, so beautiful, man.
Yeah, and with the breath, you're able to find that authenticity. And the simple practice is, when you're able to empty yourself of yourself and just make spaciousness for consciousness to enter you, which is you, then that authenticity comes through. It's when we grasp onto something that we think we are, is when we start to feel like we're not ourselves, and that's projections of people onto us, that's behaviors, that's limiting beliefs, all those things we can let go through the breath, and through that spaciousness, you will feel like yourself. And that's important, because the game of Leela, I don't know if you heard of this, but they have the game of Leela. You win the game of Leela, the game of life, when you're able to be yourself.
I hadn't heard that. That's great. So will you share, I find for myself that my morning practice is key to setting the tone for the day. And of course, I practice throughout the day and in the evening, but morning practice is so important. There's a guy on Instagram who's saying, anybody who does, I can't remember his name, but he's like, basically poo-pooing the morning practice. If you want to make money, if you want to get up and be more productive before 9 o'clock in the morning, then, don't meditate, don't do this, get to work, and I'm like, I tried.
Don't listen to that guy.
Well, for a minute, I was like, I waste a lot of time in the morning. I could be more productive. I should. So I tried it. I was like, this doesn't work for me. I need my morning practice. So I wonder, would you share with us what your morning practice is, and if you would offer is it a 5, 10, 20, 30-minute practice? So how do you do it, and what would you offer to our audience?
Oh, I would absolutely love that. And I like to reframe it from morning practice to morning ritual. And I know, JJ, you're steeped in ritual.
Yes.
Hands down.
I like that.
So you're ritualizing the morning in a really beneficial way if you're grounded and at a home, at a consistent home regularly, creating a same time every single morning practice, because that creates a neuroplasticity, and that allows you to draw deeper into whatever you're doing in full presence, because your body is prepared to do the thing that you're ready to do. So that's one thing that's really cool, is timing, right? And finding a rhythm, like, all right, this time at 7 a.m., I'm going to sit here and do my morning ritual.
So you think that doing it at the same time is important?
100%. And you see it across yogic texts, you see it across occult knowledge. Everyone says, like, pray 5 times a day at a certain time every day, because it allows you to really drop into presence, because you're prepared to do what you want to do. So like, if you're having a hard time meditating, if you do it the same time every day for 3 days, the 4th day, you're going to find a lot more stillness. Like, you're going to find that you got it. Like, whoa, this is delicious. Whoa, this is what they were talking about. And also it's better,
Right.
Yeah.
Plus that,
yeah. Plus, whoa. And that's the cool thing about these morning rituals, or just time for yourself in general. When you dive into your spirit, when you close your eyes and go from an external experience to an internal discovery, you will have a profound experience. Spirituality is not for one person. You will have some version of, I am waking up. Wow. Oh my God. Thank you so much, God. I'm so grateful to be alive, to some degree. You will discover the miracle that is the embodiment of you. That is accessible to literally everyone. It's just giving yourself that time to do so. And more importantly, putting the meaning behind it too. So I just want to say that. So like, if you put the morning rituals into your calendar and decide to do this, you will see extreme radical changes in your life. Yes. So, okay, going into morning ritual. Same time every day, boom, 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 and you show up. What I love to do first is I do like 30 pages of a new book. It's what I like. It's how my mind likes to create. It likes to see new things. It doesn't matter what book it is. I'll pick random books and I'll just create like what they call aha moments, when you read across text and you kind of tie all these things together. It's really fun for me. So I'll read 30 pages of a random book, and then I'll go into breathwork. And the breathing pattern I do, and it has changed. I like to do different breathing patterns every 2 months, because as kind of like a breath discoverer, I really want to learn what works best from that experience. But what I really enjoy is activating your parasympathetic first. So it's really important to ground first. So grounding breath is exhaling a little bit longer than the inhale, really breathing deep into your diaphragm. These are all grounding breaths, energetically filling yourself with gravity, connect to the earth. All this is really important, because the deeper you ground, like roots in a tree, the higher that tree can grow. And then you access the sympathetic nervous system, and that's chest breathing. That's like fast breathing, that's the inhale. This is all activating your sympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic and sympathetic, which if you're not aware of it, is the difference between, rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic, and then sympathetic is like the fight or flight. All your blood goes out to your extremities, your heart rate rises. So just be really inquisitive of like, oh, this is happening within my body now. Oh no, now I feel like this. Because with the breath, you have conscious control of your autonomic system, which is incredible. You start taking back your life and your emotions and your experience through understanding your breathing patterns.
Yes.
So freaking powerful, man. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah. So we're stepping into that co-creation, and then you go back into this parasympathetic. So then you ground the energy that you created. So what you're doing is you're grounding the body, you're accessing and elevating just the right amount of tension. That's what they originally meant stress to be, is tension for growth, to expand, to expand, and then you reground it again. And a breathing pattern like that is really just like breathing in for 4 seconds, exhaling for 6 seconds. Breathing in for 4 seconds, exhaling for 6 seconds, 4 times. Breathing in for 4 seconds, exhaling for 8 seconds, and you can elongate it and do that 4 times. And about 8 breaths will get you really grounded. Then going into something like fire breath, or you can do bellows breath, right? Super easy. Do that for about 3 minutes. That's going to really elevate your energy, and then go back to grounding it. Go back to, you can do 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. That's convincing yourself of a healing breath. And that's what you really want to master. That's the key, right? Is that I'm breathing from my diaphragm out, my rib cage goes out and up, my chest expands, and breathing all the way up to my thoracic cavity, and then all the way back down, and I contract and release everything. Cool. So breathing is super important. Then I run energy. And this is what people, I notice most where people don't add into their morning ritual, but it's extremely important, because this is how you tap into your life force energy and your own best medicine, which is a very unique signature frequency that is you, that will allow you to fill yourself up of yourself, right? And how we access that. First, we ground. So grounding is great to be in nature. One of the main reasons why I'm going to Rythmia is to get completely grounded. Like, you know what I mean? Just go there, put feet in the grass, be in beautiful nature in Costa Rica.
Yes.
Completely grounded, because the antioxidants that get fed through the earth through your feet reduces inflammation and has incredible healing benefits for your body. But you can also do this from like a Taoist perspective, or like an energy medicine perspective, by using visualization, energetic grounding cords to ground yourself deep into the center of the earth. What I do, and just briefly, is I run 2 currents of energy through the center of the earth up into my feet. I fill up my feet, my shins, my quads, my knees, my hips. I fill my whole body up with earth energy. Then I anchor down, right, whatever cord I feel like using. And that's the trick, is we get stuck on one energetic cord consistently, and we refer back to that anytime we feel ungrounded. But sometimes, like if we're working out or in a public place, we need a different type of energetic grounding cord that fits the environment. So using like a waterfall, a steel beam, a row of diamonds, a mountain, a tree trunk, lava, like whatever you're feeling like in the moment, use that grounding cord and anchor it deep into the earth. So that's how I run energy for grounding. Then
I'm sorry, this idea of a grounding cord, like, and the way you describe, can you just flesh that out a little bit more? Because it's
flesh that out. Okay, beautiful. Let's ground it. So we have a root chakra, right? So think of, we have 7 chakras all on top of each other, and there's perceived more chakras than what we're working with now. But for the sake of this conversation, we'll say there's 7. All chakras are above each other, and they're about in the center of your body, a little bit front from your spine. And they're all interconnected with the next one. So no chakra is separate from the other one. They're all playing off each other. Think of it almost as vertices and the wheels that have emotion and feeling and karma and conditioning. All this stuff is being expressed, and the quantity of your energy is being expressed through and in these chakras. And you can open these chakras up, okay? You can open these chakras up more just by verbally saying it. Listen, I open my root chakra up. I ground myself to the center of the earth. That is incredibly powerful. Using your awareness, which is the supercomputer of your experience, and you're directing it parts of your mind to give access to your body to use that super intelligence. Okay?
Yeah.
So you have your root chakra. My root chakra is open. I'm grounding myself to the center of the earth. What you do is you allow it to be a feeling first. That's what I do, just because I'm feeling oriented. I breathe myself down. I anchor in, and I allow what we know gravity to be, to anchor my body into the earth. So I allow myself to feel as incredibly heavy here. Feel it is incredibly heavy. And anything that is like tension or stuck emotion, you can allow that to drip off down into your root chakra, into that anchor cord, and send it to the earth. And the earth frequency, which is 7.83 hertz, can neutralize any emotion or negativity that you have. So powerful. Mother Earth loves it all. Like, here, please feed me all this deliciousness. I'll neutralize it. I can suck in the world's pain and then transcend it. That's why I have to take good care of Mother Earth, because it's one of our deepest healing modalities. There's 5 different energies that we're using. So then visualization. I use, let's say right now, I use a tree trunk. So it's a little bit wider than my hips. I'm using it about the waist of my root chakra, right where your perineum is. And I'm pushing that root down, and I'm feeling it root down into the earth, wrap around the earth's core, and I'm feeling the gravity push me down into the earth. And again, you have to embody these practices. I can tell you all day, but like you sitting here, even just us having this conversation, we feel a little bit more grounded, right? A little bit more grounded.
I mean, I've definitely worked, central channel breathing, the chakra 10, 2 feet below your feet. And I've been working with that grounding into the earth. but you used the phrase grounding cords, and then you used some specific, like a string of diamonds, a waterfall. And that's what I was like, wow, I hadn't thought about the grounding cord in any other way than just whatever sort of vision of energy that I had, but I hadn't thought of it like diamonds or a waterfall. So that's what I really was excited about.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So then, other stuff is pretty basic. That's really interesting to me too. And we have this thing called psychometry, everyone, where you can sense and perceive energy through your hands. We all have it. Mm-hmm. And you can change the size of your grounding cord from small and thin to as wide as you possibly want, right? Which also affects your aura. But like, you can feel how you're grounded based off of the energy in your hands. You can feel the energy around you. It's a measurable thing, is your grounding cord. Okay. So you feel like, okay, my grounding cord's out here. I'm gonna push it in with my psychometry, the energy channels in my hands. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller because this is where I want to be. Because maybe you're letting too many people in your energy, whatever that is. So that's another way. Is like, it's not only going to the center of the earth, but you also have a width that makes you feel most like yourself. Cool.
Yes. I'm just like.
Oh yeah. Then secondly, for running energy is your life force energy, right? So this is like really listening subtly. I love Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, the way he depicted this. Positive energy is a very subtle spiral upwards. You can meditate in it if you really listen to the words like Buddha, right? And it takes you higher and higher. Yes. And then like other stuff is like, that's like your whatever you focus on is what you're going to experience. So pay attention to those higher vibrations and frequencies. So you breathe yourself up to the edge of the universe, right? Past your ceiling, past the atmosphere of the earth, all the way to the edge of the universe. And you feel this field of light. And this is your energy, right? This is the map of the divine self. If you think of the Great White Brotherhood, there is literally a map of your divine destiny to access your best medicine. And when you raise yourself up to that vibration of that universal energy, you're pulling it down. And two of our main meridian points are on the side of our skull, and it goes past down into our spine, on each side of the spine and into our root chakra. This is the productive way that I run energy. Into the root chakra, it mingles with the earth energy. Then in one beam of light, you pull it up through your chakras. Okay. Again, this color is the color that you choose, the sensations that you choose. This is your energy. You're filling yourself up with yourself. And you're pulling this energy up, and you're allowing it to come out your crown chakra. And I always depict it like 18 inches above your head into your auric field. And this is where most of us, we don't take care of ourselves in this auric field. We're not paying attention to it, So in this auric field is about arm's width distance. And again, you find what feels right to you. You be inquisitive about yourself. You're your own best science experiment. And it's left, and it's all the way circular around. So this energy that you're bringing up, your life force energy that you're pulling down, mingling with the earth energy, the energy you're bringing up through your crowns, feeding this auric field and strengthening it. You have a strong auric field. It's feeling yourself up of yourself. And then you're grounding your auric field into the earth, which is about, another 18 inches. So you ground that auric field. So boom, you're here. Oh, I'm here, right? I'm tapped into my higher self. I'm fueling myself with this energy, because we have access to this when we're kids, but we slowly get unbalanced throughout the journey. But it's as simple as just meditating kind of on these concepts. And then secondly, you run the energy back down, life force energy, through your root, up through your chakras, out your throat, and then out your hands. And that also feeds your auric field. And anybody that wants to dive more into this, Francesca Marcartney has an intuitive medicine book that talks about auric field, and she just goes deep into it. So I highly recommend that.
Beautiful. Oh, dude, you're just dropping some wisdom. I'm just like heart open, mind open, body, just loving you. And
we make a good team.
Woo!
Let me tell you, I'm like I feel the same way.
Okay, so I kind of got you off topic on the morning routine, but we also it's almost. I mean, we're almost at an hour, and it's just gone by like it's been 2 minutes.
Wow.
I
Time
know.
Dilation at its finest. Oh my gosh.
So I always was like, how can anybody have a podcast that goes like 4 hours? Like what? And I'm like, because they have guests like Bryant.
This is there.
Talking and loving. And so I'd love it if we could kind of wrap, I want to get back to, the morning routine, like to wrap that up. And then I feel like you've just been teaching this whole time, such inspiration. So I guess I would like, let's wrap up the morning routine piece, and then we can step into the last bit of asking the last question.
So beautiful. Yes. Okay, wrapping up the morning routine. So after the breath work, and it clears everything out, right? You can't solve the problems of the mind at the level of the mind. Breath work clears out the mind. You can exhale the mind through the breath. Then you go into running the energy, because then you're tapping into your own best medicine, which is beautiful. And then you go into meditation and you sit in that silence, right? That like sea of infinite possibilities. You have access to it all. And I recommend about 20 minutes. If you can go longer, go longer. It is such a gift to yourself. And that's how you unlock the miracles, the magic. I say without meditation, it's complete chaos. With meditation, you have the power and the presence of God.
Yes. And I have to tell you, folks that have a difficult, I know a lot of my clients will say, I can't meditate, and blah, blah, blah. And the breath work is, I believe, the best way to dip in to meditation. It's transformative, because so many people just have one idea of meditation, or they're beginning meditation. It's like, okay, sit there with my eyes closed. But the breath work is such an important piece to helping, for me, to go really deep in meditation.
Totally. And also, I want to say one last thing. Anyone that's tuning in or will see this, we hope to, JJ, I hope to see you in March 6th to come have this conversation in person. I would absolutely love that.
Absolutely. And what I'm seeing so clearly is, after you have your experience with your dad, we need to bring you back as a guest speaker, because the wisdom that you have shared is just so brilliant and authentic from, I just love you, brother. And I think it would be so impactful. So we'll talk about that. Another conversation. Tell a little bit about your awakening. If you could, like, what would you tell, because your story of germination, and then finally, I was going to ask you to do some teaching, but you've just been teaching this whole time. So I'd say, is there anything, so the two questions, your story of germination, kind of in a little bit of a nutshell, and then is there anything that I haven't asked or that we didn't have a chance to touch on that you really want to share that's in your heart?
Okay, thank you. I really love the premise, the story of germination. It's like conception, gestation, and then birth. And through the awakening, for me, you realize that everything is a part of it.
Yes.
As you premised that earlier. I know that there's probably been many awakenings, but whatever you would like to share. And I love that realization, because I think that's the essence of what it is. You realize that everything is a very specific tool to either affirm a belief within or to expand your spiritual growth. And that's really, really incredible to self-realize. So I would say my awakening, what I've learned from my experience of the awakening, and it comes to a very specific moment in my life when I was about 22 years old. I was working as an executive at an artificial intelligence company. And one day Spirit woke up as Spirit. How do I premise this? Again, it's this intellectual understanding that's so silly, but very fun to try. It's very fun. So Spirit spoke to me through everything that is. And it didn't outfrontly show me that it was what it was at the time, but through different seeds that it planted throughout a night that felt like the most epic movie ever. It revealed itself to me through every interaction that I had. And it told me while I was in the subway that you have 5 different things that you're going to experience tonight, and we'll see how you do, pretty much. That's what it said. And it was an initiation of initiations, let me tell you, my friend. Like, the world shut down for this interaction. My world became one with itself, and it was speaking to me through that world. So the first thing that it showed me was, do you really mean the things that you do? Do you really mean it when you pray? Are you sincere? And I was at the time where I was smoking weed, and I put a blunt up to the sky. I remember I was 22, I was a little wild. Put a blunt to the sky, offering it to God. And it was like, do you really mean that? Do you really mean what you're doing? And I was like, you're right, I do, because it looks cool, So funny. But like that was huge for me. It's like, do you really mean the prayers that you're praying?
Yeah.
And like, how do you find that meaning? Right. So I invite everyone to find that meaning within your own prayers and truly feel it sincerely, because that's like the biggest gift, to be in that state of true surrender and love. And then secondly, it was the interconnectedness of oneness. I was sitting there, and this was the day after, and I was completely dehydrated. I just quit my job, and I was walking for miles, not a single thought. And I was sitting there, and I saw a sign that said stop and meditate. So I was like, okay. I stopped and started meditating by this ATM machine. This gentleman comes up to me. This is a dead serious story. It's so important. So important. He gets money out of the ATM and he looks at me and he's like, hey, would you like some water? I was like, no, sir, thank you. I don't want to. I didn't want to take anything. He's like, no, you need some water. Like, you're really red. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And I followed him into this store, and he showed me this. He looked at the lady and he goes, hey, how are you? How are you, man? And I was like, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Before any sort of money was exchanged, before any ask, he checked in with the soul that was in front of him and asked how she was doing. And that hit my heart so hard. That's the most beautiful thing ever. And he bought 2 waters. He bought 2 waters from her, gave me 2 waters, and he goes, here's one for you and one for later. And my first initial reaction was, okay, I'll give this water to someone else that needs it. So I leave him and I thank him so much, because I really needed that water. I just actually thrown my wallet in the trash can by accident, by giving away all my belongings at the office. It's a whole story. So anyways, I'm walking and I see the same exact gentleman in a different outfit. Hold on, wait. I see the same exact gentleman in a different outfit standing on a pole like this, looking completely dehydrated. And I looked at him and I was like, here you go, brother. It looks like you need it. Yeah, I do. I was like, whoa. So it just showed me how the giving is given and received always.
The same guy, dressed differently, standing on a pole.
2 blocks down.
2 blocks down.
Completely dehydrated. And I was like, I got you. And it showed me how giving works to the essence of it. And so this is all in a 2-day span, right? And then and there's a couple other things, and I don't want to. I know we're a little bit pressed for time, but the main thing is find the meaning in your own life. Give it sincere meaning. Excavate that and do it with your whole heart. Check in with people as people. See them as the soul. Check in. How are you doing? First, it's important. It'll open up doors to you than you could ever imagine. And then third, anything that you give, you receive. And anything that you receive, you can always give. And we are not meant to take anything with us when we go wherever we're going, but we're actually have the capability of giving, 1,000 times more than we receive, even though that is its own perception in itself, because we're always giving so much.
So beautiful, man. And I mean, obviously we're just going to have you back on, because there's so much more to talk about.
We need to do it.
Riveting, beautiful, really great conversation, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so grateful. So grateful that we're going to have the opportunity to be together March 6th at Rythmia. So come down, come check out Bryant, and Ben Decker's going to be there, and Frank Eliardi's going to be there, and Eliardi, sorry. And and I'm going to be there too. So come on down.
He's going to be there. Yeah,
I'm going to be there.
Long conversations are the key to happiness, man. Let me tell you.
Oh, so let's see. It's just at perfect timing. I'm so grateful. I want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart. And to everyone, thank you all. I know there were some questions we didn't get to and some acknowledgments that we didn't get to. So I just want to thank you. I'll go back through afterwards and respond, and just sending everyone love. Bryant, hang on for a moment. I'm going to step off, but if you'll stay on for an extra second. So just again, everyone, much love. Be sure to check Jerry's talk out tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And then Walking the Path, I will be doing Walking the Path Thursday at noon Pacific time. Looking so forward to dipping in to this deep dive of consciousness together, and just knowing that we are all led to an ever increasing good, to an ever widening field of awareness, and an ever deeper connection with the source of all of life. Aho, and so it is. Now let's go be it. All right. Amen.
Like one of these, I want to jump up and like.